enough for people to learn it that have been doing it since young riders, you know. So, and you're, I mean, again, it's not to be rude or anything, but you're older and you're just getting to this point to even start to attempt to sit the trot. So you can see too why sitting the trot any earlier would have been even more impossible because how if you don't go with him, how he slows down even more, and how you have to be going with him and also be clever enough to give him encouraging, like kind of fluffy aids to keep encouraging to fluff out in front. Um, it's it's really tricky, and I think like, will it be? Is it easier to sit on some horses over others? Yes. Is he a hard to sit horse? Like, is he in the hard category? No, but he's not like a real smooth. Um, for instance, like like a Dresden. She's like sitting on a, or like I bet your Savon was that way. I mean, I don't know him, but I'm just imagining where it's just there's just really no movement um, to have to deal with. So um, sometimes that's the case. Um, so I just think it's a little hard for him to, like he's always kind of ready to back off. So the minute that you are trying to let go to go with him and it feels like a lot and then you clinch, then he's kind of always looking for an excuse to back off as well. And then, you know, when you see some of these horses, again, I'll just group them as in like European riders. I mean, they look like they're, doink, doink, doink up there, and there is that realm that happens where the horses really use their back, and it's all of a sudden, a super moving horse does feel all of a sudden like there's just not a lot of unsittable movement. Um, but again, that's like the ultimate usage of the horse. That means they got like connected enough, they're using their back enough, they're short enough. And that's why I think you felt it at times too, where he does seem easier at times than others. Of course, if he's always really prepared and really, really put together, it would be easier. And some days it won't be easier because you're just stiff. Those two things have to, like, the stars have to align. But I want you to use him for this. I want you to use um, him. He's so good about it. You can hold that strap. He can just give you miles doing this, and he's not a bad boy. And he doesn't, give you a super huge bouncy trot also, and he doesn't take off. Um, so these are all really good things. But again, like even if I have a rider that rides a horse like Dresden and has a hard time sitting her trot, it's kind of like, oh, this is going to be hard because if the rider thinks this trot is hard to sit, uh, you know, she's in the classification of one of the easiest horses to sit because she just doesn't have much suspension at all, like at all. So she's a horse that kind of moves her legs and moves herself and can be forward, but doesn't have any up down suspension. But you have to, of course, like this kind of horse could be fun, the first horse to learn on. So you can learn to sit on her, then you go to the next phase. But again, uh, it's only been a month, and it's just, I mean, it will take months of you sitting, in my opinion, months, many months. that might be a problem. That could be a problem too. I would say, like I said, sometimes I feel like we have to, there's a few things that we have to decide what are we going for each ride or the long side or a circle or, the moment is, and I always trade off for sometimes we don't want to trade off that you're doing the right thing or you think that you're doing the right thing for some kind of like tension. So, like, that's a bad trade. So, like, if you're trading off, you think you're doing the right thing, and um, like you're a little bit like slouching or a little bit, I don't know, whatever, some of those things that we want to always sit up and be better. If we're trading off of that, but you're going with it a little bit more and you're feeling the movement mainly come from your hips, then that's an okay trade off. Because, like, it's easier to stem out from your pelvis, from your hips area to fix those things later. Because if we fix those things that are on away, the farthest parts away from your hips, then your hips still won't function. And then later, we'll have to go through the part of not caring about the far things away from your hips and redo your hips. First, it has to be the hips. And that has to function like breathing. Like it has to know what gait are we in? What function are they doing? Oh, I'm doing glider seat. How much glide? How much walk? How much more? How much less? All right, when we go to the trot, bounce the ball. How much? How much are we doing? Are they bouncing the ball enough for the trot that he's giving me? First, you have to find him and follow him. Then, once you know that you can follow him in a good way, then you can manipulate. But you can't manipulate before you can follow him. Why? Right. So you need to, like, the thing with following the horse first is you have to know where is the baseline first. Like you have to, like I'm always establishing, I think subconsciously, a scale when I ride, and I'm always doing these little like it's a computer analysis, and they're like it's like a light up chart, and it's like, okay, where's baseline? Okay, how is the baseline? Do we like it? Is it in the red zone? Is it in the yellow zone? Is it in the green zone? Oh, it's in the green zone. Good. That means we can go for forward for asking the next thing. All right. What happened? How is the scale? How is it? Is it in the green zone? Is it in the yellow zone? Is it the red? It's in the yellow zone. Oh, okay. We need to work on this a little bit more. Why? Why do we need to work on this? Why are we having this? Oh, we have to go back to the original. We have to go down a step and redo that. It showed green, but when we went to step it up to the next level or the next item or the next hard thing, it showed yellow. So we weren't really ready yet. We have to go back down again. Does that make sense? So I'm constantly like in my brain going over this like all I'm doing when I'm writing is I'm like constantly scanning and I'm giving myself little grades, little codes like this is okay, like this is okay for now. I'm okay with this now. Okay, now I want to go to the thing. Now this is a problem. I can't, now I need to work on this a little bit more. Or what can I help with exercises for this, that, or the other thing? But as I'm going with the horse, talking about following the horse, first, I have to like, and it doesn't mean just when I'm meeting the horse. It means every day I meet the horse. So I have to look at the horse each day. I know the horse. Sometimes we can kind of skip through that faster if it's my horse that I know, and I just know like the sequence of like, well, yesterday I didn't ride, or I've been riding the whole week, and this is the last day. This is a hard day. You kind of plug that into the computer as well, and it will also give you an answer. This is how you have to ride, I think. So you're almost kind of analyzing every detail. You're part of the analysis too. Your body is like a separate entity from your brain. So you have to learn to analyze your body too as you're analyzing him. Like it's almost like you step out of yourself and look and say, well, I have to analyze my seat or the way I'm following or the way I'm sitting or the way I'm balancing in my body or how I'm balancing the horse. You have to give yourself a score. And I think the score is really kind of more or less this like green, yellow, or red. caution, caution, caution. What's that, like caution, caution? Like, well, like, like, you know. And then red, of course, is that you need to um, do something about, run, scream. Again, too, I think that the more that you get the, you're on your, you're on well on your road, um, but it's never an easy road. But don't forget, there's some ladies. I just started working with a lady yesterday. She's on the beginning of the road. She just started. She's like, oh goodness. They said you've got to take your legs away, and there was like no, like the legs won't move away from the saddle, the thighs. Like there's no contra muscles. Like there's no muscles there that like she can remove her legs out at all. No, she's been a rider. Yeah, her whole life. Yeah. But she was really cute because she was like, I really want to learn how to ride correctly. I've been riding my whole life, but like I'm like an Indian. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. But it's true. Like it's just so there's the beginning of the road aspect, and you can look at that and think, oh, geez, well, I am far from that. But you were there too, because your legs were really heavy without you knowing it, because you couldn't take them away. You didn't have those contra muscles. Like we need both muscles, both sets. The same that I always go on and on about the yin and the yang. We need everything to help us. And if you're following in your seat, you need like holding in your seat, but you need following in your seat too. But it's like, where do you need the holding and where do you need the following? Yeah, you're only you're thinking about that. And I think what I spoke the other day about, like, just I think it's been a long time since I've said it to you, but I talk a lot in the Lungine lessons about how do you hold your tummy in without doing the muscles of a sit up. That's another like realm. That's another dimension. Before I tell you to really like squeeze your belly in and close everything like a total halt, aid. Just the regular day to day, your skin, like if you touch your skin, the layer right under the skin has to be also like, how do you bring your belly in but don't really use like your whole big core abdominals? I don't know how to relate it, but I feel like it's a little bit more my skin. I mean, I know it's not actually my skin, but you know what I mean. I think there's some layers there. And that has to feel a little bit like that has to get charged and strong as well. But that's a strong, soft sensation. So that's like, I always say that that's like Spanx. Like you put Spanx on, and all of a sudden you can let yourself like, ugh, but like it's not really going to pop out. Does that make sense? So we need to develop the layer in all of your fascia there that are like Spanx. And that happens by every day, all day, thinking more and more about your belly and about your length of your torso and your posture and your elegance. And the more you work on it, the more you get these little, I don't mean big huge muscles, I mean little, I'll call them little like stay muscles that are just kind of like little connectors, little teeny tiny rope connectors that hold everything up, but they're little. So let's go ahead and try the trot rising when you're ready. And the first trots, I know. You what? Oh, goodness. Oh,
Now
goodness.
it's like 4.
Crap.
Help me.
Those, your 3 days off are going to be very helpful.
Oh, really?
You're going to be like in the healing ward. Good. Nice. This is not bad. Keep the rhythm. Nice and steady. And for your checklist, thinking about the rides leading up to it, how the days have gone. Yesterday, even considering how are we with this package of energy? Not so bad, right? So this is good. If this is the case, then I want to know 20-meter circle, right? And I want to know, does he back off? Do you feel imbalances? Do you feel like the desire that you've got to get going straight again? Don't twist your chest to the inside at all. If anything, keep your right outside hip a little more anchored, like you have a little tether from your hip, your right hip back to the saddle, and it like tethers you, like you're going in the posting, but you can't really bring that right hip all the way forward. Good. Don't forget your elbows. This is a tricky part of the ride because it's really easy mentally to be, really focused on him and kind of critical of his energy and his connection and all these details. But again, it's been you're the one of the most that would understand it. It's very critical, um, all these details down the long side. I know I told you late. Good. A center line and change the direction, or quarter line if it feels too sharp. Quarter line, kind of maneuvering a bit of a diagonal, and then bending right and going right. Good. We know when we go to the right with him, we have to rev his engine. This is not bad. I was thinking he would take, there he took a step or two, but I was surprised actually up until that point. He looked like he was stepping pretty even. So then you can build from this. Let's ask for a little bit more power, but hold all that together so that it doesn't just flop out and spill over the front. Ask for more power. And then you can already, because he's flowing pretty equally and pretty nice, I feel like you can start shortening, but very little by little. But keep the power. Keep the power. Shortening little by little, keep the power. Yeah, stay there. Inhale and exhale. How soft would you rate your body, your muscles now, on a 1 to 10? How do you feel?
Pretty good.
Tickle him with your bum, with your legs, quickly. Don't lose the contact though. Good. Check your diagonal. It will help you with the balance. Good boy. A little shorter reins here because I like what you have to match what he's giving you. Go on the circle there and we're going to test and see. Remember this way, he needs a little help to see his right eye a little bit more. Careful. Quicker. When he takes those little head bobs, those little inconsistency, he needs to stay up. Yes. So maybe the trot's a little too long, a little too big. Keep him back on his hind end a little bit more. Opa, that's quite a lot for him. Stay back. Say, I'm so sorry, stay back. We want his bum a little lower and his wither a little higher. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back. Yes, like that, and tickle the hinds. You can get little like aggressive with the hinds, but the front has to really stay up, and don't let him run off. Down the long side. And breathe. Because remember, this is still your resting. This is your down dog of the yoga. This is your resting spot. Quarter line. Right up. Keep him up. Keep him up. Up more in the shoulder. Up, 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 up. And a little leg yielding, keeping him up. Leg yielding out. Yes, this will help that balance back. Good. Yeah. You kind of gave up at the end there. Careful. Center line. Or quarter line. I know it's late. And leg yield. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Little crosses. The shoulder, the shoulder, the shoulder, the shoulder, the shoulder. Don't give up at the end. Oh no. Good. The diagonal, change the direction. Breathe. Really breathe in through the nose. In and out. Change the bend. Hold him in the outside ring. Quick, 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 quick. Quick, 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 quick. All right, a little shoulder in down the long side, shorten the reins. He has to have energy when you shorten the reins. Energy. Hind leg. Tap that left hind leg. Tap, tap. The left hind leg. Tap, tap, tap. And right elbow back. And right hand down. Do not pull on your left hand. Do not pull on your inside hand. Quarter line. Right hand. Outside hand holds him, outside hand holds him, leg yield over, outside hand holds him, outside flexion, make him look to the right, keep the leg yield, make him look to the right, keep the leg yield, make him look to the right, and leg yield, yes, yes, good job, better with the shoulder, eh? Quarter line. Okay, or shoulder in, make him look to the right with the shoulder in, make him look to the right. No, you're putting your right shoulder forward. You don't, in going this direction, it doesn't apply to you as wonderful as bringing the shoulder in, because you always ride with a bit of a shoulder in. So don't do it this way. You're already loving to give your right shoulder forward. So just this way we have to kind of back to the drawing boards in the sense of it doesn't, the rules don't apply to you on this case. Okay. Because you love to, it's almost like your body's like, yay, we're going to do shoulder in. That's what my body's doing all the time. You don't need to do anything more. You have to keep yourself really positioned, because the angle of what the shoulder of the angle of what his shoulder is coming in is so little. You're already overly doing it. You're way past the point of the shoulder angle in your shoulders. In general, you're always fighting it going this way. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. So do a shoulder in with your right shoulder back. It's a little bit contra. Yes. 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 This is good. Are you videotaping?
Yeah.
Good. This is what I want you to see. So when you're watching this is really important to see the difference versus the last one to this one, and you'll see it. You're in a fine position there. Again, shoulder in. Yes. Do not pull that left hand down. Bend your left elbow and put it forward. Shorten the reins. Good. More trot. In a gentle way. Hop, 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 hop. Good. Try that shoulder in again. into the walk and the shoulder in. Right shoulder down. Right. Yes. You see the difference there. Walk and the shoulder in. No, no, no. Don't raise your right shoulder down. Right shoulder down. And walk. Good. Don't give up. Don't give up. Breathe and stay tall. Breathe. Show that you're recovering, but stay elegant. Breathe, but stay elegant. This elegance is so hard because it takes a lot of structural muscles. Like just staying elegant takes muscles, and you're learning them. The first thing we want to do is go, ugh, ugh, and collapse. Learn to recover staying elegant. Because the elegance is going to be your down dog. I've told you that in the yoga, right?
Yeah.
First time I ever did down dog, the first weeks that I did down dog, I was in severe pain. Like my ankle, my wrists were hurting, like my arms were hurting, my shoulders were hurting. And I like laughed out loud. The lady was like, "This is gonna be your resting pose," and I'm like, "Resting?" I feel like I'm dying. There's no resting happening here. Like I'm in severe pain. Like how could this be a rest? That's kind of what I relate this to. Shoulder in and trot, sitting. Yes, yes. Bounce your back. And the shoulder in. Don't hang on your inside hand. Good, good, good. And walk and trot. And shoulder in down the next long side. Right hand has more contact. Right hand, right elbow, right shoulder down. No, do not drop your left hand. You'll see it in the video. Bend your left elbow. Yes, bend your left elbow more. Bend your inside elbow. Put your hand up. Put your inside hand up and forward. Yes, 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 yes. There. From your elbow out to your hand, it'll be silly wonky. But when you watch from the back on the video, you'll see then you have from your shoulders and your arms coming down to your elbows. We need equal. So you love to put your inside, yes, you love to put your inside hand down and lock them in and like, you're gonna bend to the inside. No, he has to bend through his don't and careful not to put your left leg back. It's not a haunch out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your legs can be stable there because your legs are his back legs and your hips are his hips. That's just going down the track. Don't get confused and think to put the haunch out for this.
Okay.
If you feel like you need to put your leg back for some reason because he's coming off the track, I rather you put your leg a little where it's supposed to be and give him a quick kick and say, "Don't leave the track," and then that's it. Don't turn a shoulder into a hunch out. Do you know what I mean? And try it only 3 or 4 strides of just a little right ring. Yes, 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 and get out. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
That was totally fine. Do it again. Be careful, your left leg. Careful, 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 good. And then just regular trot, good. Regular trot, the diagonal. Posting for lengthening, shorten the reins. His pull higher, his shoulder higher, everything more up. Up, 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 up. A little bit more swing. And more trot. More trot. And then a little bit down the next long side, a little shoulder in. Watch your shoulders. Careful not to collapse your right where your arm band is.
Okay, that didn't feel good.
No.
So
So go back to trot again and just think of everything. Don't think of turning anything right now because I think you'll get too much play there than you need. Everyone likes to overdo always the angle.
Right.
Remember, if he's going down the track right now and his right, his left front hoof is in line with his left hind hoof. For the shoulder in to be proper, we want the outside front hoof to come in line with the inside hind hoof, right? Nothing to do with the neck. He loves here to only bend the neck, and you can see in the video, nothing happened. If anything, even his shoulder went a bit out. So what is the distance? So walk a second. What is the distance, do you think, between his, if he's come up here closer, and then on the wall after you pass, I think that's P there. Just hold. Just hold there. Okay, so this is interesting because he gives you a very narrow stance on his hind legs and a wider stance on his front legs. If his front legs were a little more close up, because they're a little wider than he would stand on a regular pattern, and his hind legs are a little closer. So let's just say his hind legs would open up just a smidgen, and his front legs would close in just a smidgen. Okay, so the distance for his left front to get in line with his right hind, have a look a little bit, look around there and see, look down and see how many inches will his shoulder need to come in to get his outside front in line with his inside hind. What do you, like a guess? What do you think? So his inside hind is making a line, his white leg. It's a line. And his outside legs are making a line, like a train track. 2 lines. Poker straight. His spine is in the middle of those 2 lines. When we want to make the shoulder come in, we want his front part, his shoulders. In your case, it's the left front. Has to move in only until that hoof is in line with his back right hind. Right now, his left front is in line with his left hind. Does that make sense? So if you move his shoulder slightly over till he's making his 3 tracks for a shoulder in, it's really only 6 inches.
Oh, wow.
5 inches.
Oh.
Because how much distance does he have between his 2 hind legs?
Not a lot.
That's all you're asking the shoulder to move over. It's only moving from the track of the outside hind to the track of the inside hind. And what's the distance between the outside hind and the inside hind?
Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 inches.
On a normal horse. So what happens is sometimes when you were doing it the other way, you got it pretty well on that last one. I commented on the video, so you'll hear it. But on this direction, he has a little bit harder time because he likes to pop his shoulder, like he's a little bit on a shoulder out kind of track going this direction all the time. So he loves to keep his right hind on its own track, his left hind on its own track, his right front on his own track, and his left front on his own track. And then, to try to fix everything, we overly bend his nose in. And that's a whole nother thing. So first, before we would do a shoulder in...
Both legs be at the girth?
Both legs for a shoulder in my idea. His haunches are supposed to stay where? His hind legs are supposed to be where? On the track. On the track that you're tracking, right? So where should your legs be, that your legs are his legs? Where should they be?
They should just be normal, straight.
Just hanging. Just hanging. Yeah. And your hips should be where?
My hips should be aligned with him, straight.
Yeah.
As well.
If we just cut off the back half of him, those two hind legs are just going right down the track, and so are your hips, and so are your legs.
Okay. And
you can ask for a little when a shoulder in is going really well. You can ask for more bend through his barrel sometimes.
Okay.
When everything's going really well, for really to sit on that inside hind and really elevate that right front, and the shoulder and everything sits and gets elegant, and the legs really cross and lift, and is another thing. But when you're just thinking about the basic parts of it, you have to understand this is really little and simple and basic. You just want that shoulder. And if you look at him now, the way he's standing, he's, he's got even his neck like displaced over to the right, and he is bulging on his left shoulder out. So in general, this direction, a shoulder in for him is really, it doesn't even match his structure the way he wants to stand in general. You'll see him now. Why is his head like totally displaced over to the right? Like you'll see in the video, he looks like he's like he's like, but not like he's bending. He's like displaced his neck and head over like a diagonal.
Yeah.
Of course, now he's looking at something to the right, but if you bring him gently back over with his head till you feel that it's in straight in front of his body. When is his head and neck straight in front of his body? Yeah. Better. So keep his head and neck straight in front of his body and bring his shoulders slightly in, but don't bring his head in. His head will come in because his shoulders come in if his head is in front of his shoulders, right?
Okay.
Bring his shoulders one step over to the right, but not his head. Bring his shoulders.
Like I want to move my hips, and I know I'm not supposed to move my hips.
Right.
Hips are straight.
You're just simply making that shoulder step over to the right. One step. Like you're going to make him turn. It would be the first part of you just want to do turn the haunch right now. Just want to bring it. Okay, no wait. Now wait. That would be the angle more of now. You can really see the left front is in line with the right hind. You can see if you're watching this video that he'll make 3 tracks now. Is that a lot? Is no bend though. Do you understand?
Right.
Now bend his head to the right. Take his head off that's what you tend to do. And you'll see it now in the video. It's really clear. It's just a big fat extra bit of something that is not necessary. And it actually hurts the idea. When you're twisting too much, your chest is pointing too much to the right in relation to the pointing of his. There. That's it. Now point your chest straight down the track. Point your chest straight down the track. Okay. Now you're not in line with his shoulder in. And you even rebalanced him by doing that. He kind of was like, oof, where's she going? Now point your chest to the line that he's on, because he's on the shoulder in line right now. He's still standing on it. Point right there. That's it. Now straighten it. You can feel how he shifted under you a little bit. Now point to the shoulder in. How many centimeters is it?
So
how many inches is it?
So minute, it's like you can't even really see me doing it.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, I'm trying to close the full side when I do it, because rather than pulling on this rein, I'm just trying to close my side.
You keep the contact the same, but you can tell he's already wanting to move the shoulder more. You move the shoulder through your outside elbow without even touching the neck.
The outside elbow back or just bending? Just
touching him. No, it doesn't have to bend even. The more you hold it and the more you start to close it in a little bit, he knows he has to move that shoulder over.
I got you.
It's like in the air. It's invisible.
Okay. I see.
And then go ahead back. Go ahead back for the walk. And trot when you're ready. Oopsie. Oopsie. More trot. Tap him on the top of the bum. Again on the top of the bum. Hop, hop. The squirrel tail is out. He needs to bring it under. Come, come, come. Come, come, come. Let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, let's get going. I want more. He's having a hard time this way now. Might be because we just stood. Let's change the direction. Quiet your hands. Make more bend in your elbow. Take him back in the elbow. Tick, tick, tick the hind legs. I need them to be like quick, quick, quick. Let's go for a walk. We kind of got a little funky here. I'm going to say go. I'm going to go. And we're all like, again, too, I think today was a bit of an explanation day. I'm going to say let's lengthen him a little bit. And go for trot rising again just to see if he gets any more loose. Give him scratches on his neck. Let's see if he goes down a little bit, if it helps any. Are we any more swingy? It's very strange, huh? He's taking really weird steps on both directions. Let's walk.
But that felt better.
Yeah. So it is. I do have to run. I do have to run to my next lesson. It is 9:43. I think what it might have been because we just stood and he got a little like muscle tight.
Yeah.
I had the kind of the idea of doing a bit more sitting trot today.
Okay.
But I think it was more important to talk about what we just did. I think that was also a useful point. Because I think it's really important the way that your chest points, especially when you were doing so bad, really overly shifting your, when you're tracking left, overly shifting your chest and hips to the left, trying to help him to turn left more, which was just way past the point of what you needed and then actually causing the reverse effect. I'd like to try a little bit more trot holding the strap, but this just threw in another wrench. I'm not really sure what this, he's never usually taking weird steps going to the left. You can try a little canter maybe. That might help if it's a little bit of a muscle tightness from standing. I mean, it has to be that. Doesn't make any sense otherwise. Let's go for a canter. Long. Up and a little 2 point. Good. Let's take a little more contact and start to bring him together in the canter. More through your right wing. More following. A little more collected, but more hind legs. So he's a little like straight-legged behind, not articulating enough. And a little bit like now bring him his neck carriage in. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. While you're walking, just check your video on off in case something happens, because I don't want you to